Emily, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders. Putin is unleashed the Killjoy. We call it that. He calls it the Kinzhal. I'm going to remind you that this super weapon can go about Mach 9. It can also blow satellites out of the sky. It's what exposed Xi Jinping and his CubeSats. And now that I'm going to mention Xi Jinping, thank God Modi teamed up with the Philippines on Navy drills. But the other thing I'm going to bring up is the complete fall of the dollar. We went from gold to the Federal Reserve to the Petro Dollar, and now everybody's bailing ship and going to BRICS. Everybody in the world. And to me, that sounds like there's been some sort of victory. So Putin orders his super attack, and it's been going on for the last few days. This Kinzhal weapon is capable of holding nuclear ordinances, meaning total death and destruction for you and I. It's one bomb can kill out an entire town. But he's not putting nukes in them right now, but he did hit Odessa last night pretty hard. And everybody's complaining to Putin saying, "Why did you do it?" It's such an idiotic thing to say. He did it because we gave Zelensky the ammunition to sink a Russian warship in which all the Russians, I think 31 of them at least, died. Now, to put this in perspective on how we should think, let's say Texas defected back in 1991, and then Russia started giving them equipment to where they were sinking our Navy in the Gulf of Mexico. It would be the very same scenario. So we're messing in their backyard. These people speak Ukrainian and Russian, but why we as another country need to fund a puppet of ours over there? Are they helping the Ukrainians out? I don't think so. We're looking at, maybe a 80% devastation in the men in their country just for some political war. If it wasn't bad enough of us fighting in Afghanistan for 20 years just for big pharma, and I mean the opium war, then it's now biohazards and vaccines. This new war we have, even on their worst days in Israel, they're not passing our worst every day in the United States on the deaths from fentanyl and from illegal drugs coming out of China. It's that bad. So we're not reporting on ourselves. I could report and say this, hey, look what's going on over there. But at the same time, I'm going to bring up Korea and how Xi Jinping is so sick of Jack Wagon Joe that he's firing test missiles again. And what you're seeing behind me is Putin is doing the same. And it's not anything to do with anything else that America is fully run by corruption right now. Under this jackwagon administration, everybody that's in office representing us really doesn't represent anybody here. They're a bunch of fraudsters. And I'm just calling it the way I see it. So Russia's setting up some interesting things live. We're going to go to Wyon to see if they're still streaming this, and Wyon was reporting this, and these were things that were happening live, and they're going around, but we're looking at the unification of China and Russia. They have a common couple of enemies. Their crash test dummies would be North Korea against South Korea, Japan, and Taiwan and the United States. And with Iran through Russia. But here's the kicker. Just this last couple of weeks, we have gone, okay? We've gone from Saudi being on our side to them wanting to join BRICS. We've got a lot of countries that have been our allies, even Egypt, countries that we've been given $1 billion to. And here we bust Senator Menendez for fraud, and he deals with Egypt, but we let him stay in there. Here we bust Jack Wagon Joe for all these crimes and cocaine in the White House, but we let him stay in there. You see, only the common man, these rules are only made for you and I. And we need to clean house. We're being run by a den of vipers, America. And the whole world is getting sick of all of our destruction. Isn't it funny that we can go as citizens to all of these other countries and get along because we're from all these other countries? But for some reason, our government's got to create wars, huh? Well, they're responding, and they're getting sick of our actions. So they know that Joe will say anything he can, and it's just for political greed. Am I right or am I wrong, America? Okay. Odessa, Russia got hit pretty hard, just so you know. And it's been pretty tragic. So the Kinzhal missile hit there. It was dark. We couldn't really report on as to why. And keep in mind what you're seeing behind me is North Korea is amping up. He's saying he's ready to go to war. He's sick of this tyrannical government that we have. Now, here's the other news. Okay. This is what Odessa looks like, and this is from a low ordnance from a Kinzhal attack. So Odessa has been hit, and let's not try to pretend like we are innocent when we're not. What did we do, America? Well, we're funding Zelensky. We're giving him dangerous toys, and we gave him the toys that blew up a Russian ship that killed 31 Russian naval officers. And we could say, well, Chris, Russians are the enemy. Well, you know, they haven't been, but when we continue to be this way, they will be. And if you think that Russians are bad, I want you to consider the 3 million Russian Americans that live here, not even including their grandchildren and children. Before you go pointing fingers at Iran, I want you to think about the million Iranians that live in the United States and their kids and their families and their friends and how we get along with everybody here. The only culprit is our government. And the victims are all of our families worldwide. So I don't want to pick a side between Israel and Gaza because we can't. That's not our job. Personally, I'm a Christian. My job is to love thy neighbor. And I know that if people really practiced what Jesus discovered, well, then there would be no war because hate creates hate and love creates love. And they're creating so much hate that I don't know if we can stop it. These are actual thoughts when I see what is happening in Gaza. Those people don't deserve that much hate. And it reminds me of Nazi Germany. And we as a country can't get involved on any side because that war doesn't concern us. If it does, understand that's just because you've been brainwashed by the current media. Because this war between them was 640 years old. Even during the time of Jesus Christ. Just look in the book of Judges 3:13, you'll see it. It has been the Gazahites versus the Philistines versus the Israelis. And they always challenge them when they stray from God. Okay, and remember, they date all the way back to Abraham because they're the seeds of Abraham. Ishmael's kids went out and became the founders of Islam. Okay, whereas Sarah's then became the founders for Israel. So let's go on here. So this Russian warship that went down the other day, it was terrible and it was tragic, and I'm going to try to let us understand some things about it. But we have the explosion, and here it is brought to us by The Guardian. There's some live filming going on, but you can see the massive explosion and then the ordnances that explode. I'll let you see it here. But it's completely horrible. And so we empowered Ukraine. Now, if you listen to what the governor of Ukraine and everybody else says, they're saying that Zelensky is extorting the money from the people just like Jackwagon Joe is. They're criminals. And hate breeds hate. Love creates love. And our government is doing nothing but destroying freedom for people. And that's what I'm seeing. And it's nothing that I can be proud of or get behind. In this war out there, we got the Houthis, Houthi and the Blowfish. And they're holding up right now 300 ships, and I'm asking for the United States Merchant Marine Force to stand down. I don't want any of our ships in that area, or they're going to detain us as hostages to start a world war, and they will probably torture us way worse than they will any other country. So we got to remember we have people that are Houthis here in the United States, but there's so much hate that's going on. And again, in our daily lives in America, how much does this have to do with us? In all actuality, going to McDonald's, hanging out with your friends, how much has this situation had a part of our lives? The answer is zero, so don't let it have to be part of your life today. The Suez Canal is big business for Egypt, so let them handle it. But I'll tell you something. MBS and Saudi and all these guys joined BRICS. Okay, and when I see all this, what's going on is something, and we lost the Petro Dollar. So if we lost the Petro Dollar and the United States doesn't have this control anymore, that's why this is happening behind me. Okay, so wake up. It's because Jackwagon Joe lost the Petro Dollar because he was asleep at the helm. And then when he was asleep at the helm, the Houthis dropped on. Now, if I give my analogy onto this, we're going to lose it. Now, why do you say that, Chris? Because he who controls the oil will win the war. He who controls the money will win the war. And right now, Saudi controls it. So if we don't go with natural resources and natural gas and hemp biodiesel, we're done. We need to be energy independent here at home. Other than that, Japan, congratulations on the 3 new ships that you released this week that are ships that are also submarines. And they need these war weapons to safeguard themselves from China, from North Korea. Gambate ne, honto. So Japan is doing some magnificent things out there. They've got some real transformer type technology, and they're getting involved into the Red Sea because they have to. And we have got to protect the Taiwan Strait, and I'm telling you the answer is simple. Kick them out of the Panama Canal that's in our backyard. But you got to grow a pair of balls to have these opinions, and last I checked, no one there's got a pair. Okay. We're going to go on to a commercial that actually touched my heart. Here we go. Thank you, Sarah.
It was Christmas Day. We boarded Air Force One in complete and total darkness in the pitch black of night. We landed in war-torn western Iraq. No lights on the runway. There were hundreds of troops packed into a dining hall. They had absolutely no idea that the president and first lady were about to walk into that room. And when they did, it was a sight and a sound and a scene that I hope I never forget. That room absolutely erupted. That was the kind of patriotism President Trump brought back to our country. One of the young soldiers yelled from the back of the room, "Mr. President, I re-enlisted in the military because of you." And without missing a beat, the president said, "And son, I am here because of you."
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Back in the days when we had a president that cared about us and he loved us, and he went there to single-handedly defeat the war in Korea. He didn't send our boys, did he? Nope, he went there himself. And that's what a real champion does. And so this Nobel Peace Prize that they have, it really can't be too much if they don't give it to Donald Trump, because if you can't recognize real valor, real commitment, then you don't mean anything to the American people. And we really need to watch China, and we really need to watch North Korea. But what this is behind me is that Lindsey Graham wants to make sure we go to war with Iran. And I don't. I want them to do what they want to do out there. I want them to mind their own business. I want us to mind our own business. And we got another war. It's our border, and it's all the foreigners that have been let into our country. First and foremost, we need to get our troops back home, get them out of Syria, get them out of Iraq. What are we doing? Look at how horrible we are. Did we go after we defeated Iraq? You know what we could have done? We could have rebuilt their roads. We could have nationalized their oil and rebuilt universities and hospitals and implemented a new way, put a star on the map, made them citizens of the United States. Did we do anything like that? No. We left it in destruction. Then, if you remember, Obama left our war weaponry there so Iran could have it. Just like Biden left our war weaponry in Afghanistan so the Taliban could have it. Do you see a system of similarities that both of them have orchestrated? So they've given aid and comfort to the enemy. That is the definition of treason in the Constitution of the United States. So if they try to implement the 14th Amendment, I'm asking Congress to either implement the treason, 14th Amendment against Obama and Biden for what they did in Afghanistan, for what they did in Iraq. Even Bush is guilty of that, in my opinion. We need to be helping people out. We don't need to be torturing and terrorizing the world, including our own citizens, on the war on drugs, which we do every day. But when it's in your own house with your own son, Hunter Biden, what do you do then? Or do you just get the I'm a rich cracker, get out of jail free card? Well, enough crack in the whip, cracker. We're all sick of that crap. We need our freedom back. And let's not say that it's white. If you want to say white or yellow or red and you want to make something out of the red man, you want to kick Aunt Jemima out, but good old Quaker Oatmeal boy can sure still be there, can't he? Just don't try to be an Indian woman selling any butter to me. We've gone too far, America. We need to change things. We need to put the Washington Redskins back and end this woke nonsense pronto, tontos. Because our minority of wokeness is a tyrannical minority. And they need to listen to the majority of people that pay taxes and that uphold our country, and they're called parents. And last I checked, only parents dedicate their children to our military, not gay couples. And you know I'm right on this. And you know what Christianity is based on? God loved us so much that he gave his only begotten Son so that you and I, by the grace of Jesus, can be saved. Well, guess what? For your freedom, only a parent can lose a child. So by that grace and freedom, you, sitting on your ass on a couch right now, can be free. I want you to remember that, and you want to stay out of parents' businesses. Amen. One of the commandments is to honor thy father and thy mother, and to not worship idol images. Yet the Roman Catholic cross is predominant and brainwashed us and blinded us to where we go and say, "Oh, Father, forgive me, for I have sinned." When Jesus said, when you want to talk to our Father, you go into that private place, and what you say in private is heard. Everything that's said out in the open, guess what? They've already received the reward, which is recognition by people, which is nothing in my book. We need to follow the commandment of love, and we're not doing it.